Hi, so this is a video for anyone who is gonna be only playing fortissimo. Okay. Okay, so, sorry, this is a video for anyone unless you are playing fortissimo. So here it is. This is how to go through Schubert's impromptus. There's some tips basically. Each one has something quite interesting to say about it. So the first one, what I've got to say about it is this number 1, which is the most difficult of the 4 D899 impromptus, so opus 90. That first spare G chord is actually it's marked fortissimo. So the way that a lot of people play it though is actually only forte. It's not fortissimo. How do I know? Because later on in the score you will see that there is a fortissimo. It's a lovely, well, there's a forte and there's a fortissimo. They are in measures 21 you got a forte, and in measure just a bit later 25, 26, 27, 29 you got a fortissimo. So on that first page of the first impromptu you've got a definition as to what the difference is between forte and fortissimo. And so you can compare whoever it is. You can look at the recordings on the internet, whether it's Tiffany Poon, Arkady Volodos, Lugansky, or what's her name? I can't remember her name now. It's a good Japanese pianist. What's her name? Can't remember. Anyway, lots of people who play. Oh, there's also a Portuguese pianist. What's her name? Oh yeah, Maria Perez, or Alfred Brendel, or his protege. What's his name? Can't remember his name now. Anyway, you can see whether they have done the first chord, the bare octave in both hands, so double octave of a G on G, whether they've played that fortissimo by comparing it to whether it's the same as measure 21, as I say, which is another forte, or fortissimo on bar 27. And if it's more like the bar 21, then you can see that they've actually played that first double octave as a forte and not as a fortissimo. If it's the same as bar 27, then that's great. That's as Schubert marked it. Going on to the second impromptu. So the second impromptu, let's look at the beginning of that as well. That note should not be held, that first E flat. Sorry, the first B flat. So that first B flat is not marked. It's a it's not a its note value is an 8th note. So it's not to be held any longer than an 8th note. Okay, and it's not marked in any way differently. So that's an interesting point, because most pianists do hold that note as though it's double the time value. And then we got the third impromptu. In the third impromptu, I want to talk about something which is not in the score, but which I think sounds better it's not in the original manuscript, but I think it sounds better as it's played. I think it was in the first edition, though. It's not in the original manuscript, but it's in the first edition, and that is the measure. Can you go out, please, Danny? Thank you. You go and play the piano, my love. You've got lots to do. You've got those finger exercises. Yes, the Hanon to do. Please, can you do that? I'll listen to it here. So we'll go. Yeah. So now the third impromptu in G flat major. This is it's a beautiful impromptu, and it's something you can actually play with your eyes closed. The first couple of pages of it. Yeah, very good. Okay, well let's not do key necks. Do you think Mozart was doing key necks when he was your age, or was he writing concerti?
Concerti.
Ah, was he practicing Hanon? I don't think Hanon was actually born yet, but he was definitely practicing piano and guitar and sort of violin and things like that. So you can do the same, yeah?
No.
Playing key necks is not as good. Can you just stay out there, my love?
It is good.
It is good, okay, it is good, quite good. But can you continue those Hanon exercises? Yeah, start with your little finger of the left hand. Yeah, and okay. So this is the third impromptu, and it's in measure 5. I think it sounds better on the last broken chord that you can see there, the last arpeggio, if you want. You can see that there's a D flat. If you take it to be the way it's written in a lot of these texts, the way it was written in the manuscript actually, but it sounds better as a D natural, and that's how it was published, by the way. So there we go. You know, that's what I think about that third impromptu. It sounds much better with playing that D as a D natural. I think Schubert would have concurred. I think he probably slipped into the editorials and told them to do that. But I may be mistaken, of course. Then, in the fourth impromptu, what I find helps there is, again, that is the tempo marking. It is marked allegretto, which is slower than allegro. So again, if you go to YouTube, you can hear these pianists who play it. And the same ones I mentioned before, Brendel, Sokol, Brendel, Lugansky, Tiffany Poon, Richter, and Horowitz, and so forth.
The guy put
Lugansky, they all will play it either, and Rachmaninoff as well plays this. Very good. Yes. And he, and as well as most of the ones I've mentioned, play it at allegro speed, which is very fast. I mean, it's fast. It's written allegretto, which is markedly slower. So it should be at a slower, tempo than whatever the same pianist plays for number 2. So please compare the pianists playing of number 2 with their playing of number 4. If they are the same speed, then they're making a mistake again. Just like with the number 1, that should be a fortissimo and not a forte chord. And with number 3, well, there's no mistake there, but I think that it sounds better. Check it out with a D natural in the right hand in measure 5. So thank you very much for that, and I hope to see you in the next video.